It's time for Voice of Indie. Your hosts today are Beem Weeks, author, producer, and marketing monster for independent multimedia publisher Fresh Ink Group, and Stephen Gies, author, producer, composer, and publisher for Fresh Ink Group.
Happy Wednesday, everybody, and guess what? We are back live after being off for a couple of weeks. This is the Voice of Indie podcast, episode number 167. I am your host, Beem Weeks, and with me is Mr. Stephen G. How are you doing tonight, Stephen?
I'm doing great. My legs are tired from all the traveling, but I appreciate everybody's patience with a couple of reruns, although they were great shows, definitely great shows to rerun. Yeah, in the past week I traveled to Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, and saw Peter Gabriel twice, and Beem saw one of those shows. Was he any good, Beem?
Oh, he was fantastic. We saw him in Detroit. Here, a little side note to this. A few days before that, earlier in the week, we saw him on a Thursday. It was a Friday. Yeah, saw him on Friday. Earlier in the week, I had strep throat, and I woke up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. Had a raging fever, blacked out, and cracked a vertebrae in my back, the L5. So at that concert, it was a fun show, but I was in some pain, let me tell you, sitting there in those hard seats all night. But I'll tell you what, Peter Gabriel, dude, he's been doing it so long, man. I mean, he's just a phenomenal showman, phenomenal.
Yeah, and this current tour, it's a 3-hour concert. 3 hours.
3-hour concert, yeah.
73-year-old
and by the way,
man, and
my back is a lot better, so thank you to everybody that was sending me best wishes on that.
Yep. So while I was running around, I also saw Ringo Starr and his all-star band, and man, that was fun. I had never seen a Beatle before. Now I've seen a Beatle. And, wow, one of the great keyboard players from all time goes way back. Edgar Winter was with him, and then he had a lot of famous guitar players and stuff like that, and they just did a great show, just a great fun show. And the friend I took with me, not real into music, doesn't keep up with all the bands and stuff like that, but he sat there and knew every song they played, and that just thrilled him to death because they were all classic songs. So Ringo was cool. And then a couple of days after that, I saw Grand Funk Railroad. Now I'm from Detroit, so you got to go see Grand Funk Railroad when they're coming around. It's two of the three original members, and that was just a fun show too. My only complaint about that is they played for an hour and 18 minutes and said bye. Drive carefully. And I'm expecting more than an hour and 18 minutes when I pay for a concert ticket anymore. But other than that, we also attended a private concert up in the Detroit area. We'll tell you a little bit more about that later in the show.
Yes, definitely. And listeners, we do have a new book coming out. It is actually out now. Yeah. Mermaid Cove by Maureen Howard. This is a full-size, all-color book of Maureen's paintings, their watercolors and whatnot, different media types of paintings of mermaids. And I believe there's some poetry in there as well, and it's a really cool book. It's a coffee table type book, and if you are into that, the whole mermaid thing, give it a try. Check it out. Mermaid Cove by Dr. Maureen Howard. PhD.
That's a little bit of a collector's item, too, because what the paintings are is the original paintings done for the posters for the Mardi Gras Festival, which is a Mardi Gras parade, but done with yachts, where they do it out there in the bay and then decorate the yachts and just have a big old party. So every year that event has a poster with a new mermaid on it. That's what's collected in this book, and they're very cool.
Very cool.
All right, we had a question come up today from one of our authors, Robert McKenzie. He had a fan who ordered his book in Australia. His latest book is The Chair 3. We're working on The Chair 4 right now. Hope to have it out in the next month or so. But she ordered The Chair 3, and 71 days later, Amazon informed her we're not going to ship it. And say we don't do that. So she was kind of upset that she couldn't get a book in Australia, and he was, a little bit put off by, you guys do worldwide distribution. What's going on? So I looked at her communication and saw that she had ordered the book from Amazon.com. Amazon.com is the United States version of Amazon. There is an Amazon.co.au, which is the Amazon in Australia. And Amazons are all over the world. .co.jp is Japan. .co.uk is the United Kingdom. So I want to caution all you authors out there who are promoting your books and all you readers who are buying books. In particular, if you are, sending somebody a link, hey, they're interested in your book, here's the link, order it. Make sure you send the link from the country that person is in. Otherwise, if you're sending them an Amazon.com link or a BarnesandNoble.com link, they're going to be trying to order it from the United States and then ship it halfway around the world, and that's not practical at all. And what's kind of ironic about this one is we are constantly expanding our printer network because we are exclusively printing through Ingram now. And Ingram, back in the day, I used to have to contract with different printing companies around the world, and Ingram has been watching over my shoulder, and every time I do that, they would buy that company. And now they own all these printing companies all around the world. Starting 2 months ago, we started printing books in Melbourne, Australia. This woman lives in Melbourne, so she's probably driving past. She's probably driving past the factory where that book would be printed, but she was trying to get one from the United States. So I just want everybody to understand that. We do worldwide distribution at Fresh Ink Group. We've made it a point to be available in virtually every country in the world. There's parts of Indonesia and parts of China and a couple of African countries where, it's not the best situation, but, we can live with we can live with 98% saturation out there. So always pay attention to where your fans are and point them to where to buy books in their country.
Yeah, Aisha Ihsan, she's one of our authors. She's had some issues trying to get her own book into Dubai. She has to come up with different routes. I believe she's been using Barnes & Noble lately because of Amazon's got some kind of issue going on there.
Exactly. In fact, Amazon stopped shipping to Dubai, to the United Arab Emirates, because of the problems they were having with the government. So Barnes & Noble's still doing it. Go for it.
There you go. All right. So all of our Dubai listeners, if you need a book, go through Barnes & Noble.
Do buy those books. I couldn't.
We have a handful of new authors that we've signed, and one of them is Judy White Artz, A-R-T-Z. Her book, The Essence of Spiritual Awakening, will be available in a couple weeks. And she's going to be a guest coming up on our show, too. So keep your ears and eyes open for that. Yeah,
we want to announce one of our authors, Phil Lippert, who's the author of Crimes and the People Who Commit Them, has a new website now, phillippert.com, PhilLippert.com. Go check that out, and check out his book, Crimes and the People Who Commit Them. This guy did a lot of hard time in prisons in Michigan, and he writes the stories about what it was like in there and what he experienced and what got him there and stuff like that. So check that out.
These are actually fictionalized accounts that he wrote, but it's based on the reality of it. And the dude, he's a fantastic writer, fantastic storyteller, and he's currently doing a lot of traveling through South America, and what he's doing is he's taking photos and videos and writing blog pieces on it. So he's trying to get this stuff up on his website. So get over there and check out the website and see what he's up to, phillippert.com. And if you want to be a part of tonight's show, you got questions, you got comments, here's how you can be a partaker.
Call 516-453-9902 right now with your questions or comments for tonight's guest. Or post a note on Twitter with hashtag Fresh Ink Group in the body of the tweet, and we'll read it on air. That's 516-453-9902 or hashtag Fresh Ink Group on Twitter.
All right.
All right.
Now, we've got more books coming out in the next few weeks. We've got The Chair 4 by Robert McKenzie. This is the fourth book in his Chair series, which is proven wildly popular all over the world. So the fourth one will be out in a few weeks, and then we'll be scheduling to have him on the podcast again. We've also got the second book in the Dayang trilogy by Maureen Howard. Should be coming out probably right before Christmas, sometime around then. And we're also working on trying to quickly get out Robert G. Willis Cross Ran, A Civilization in Hiding. That's the next book in the Ort Chronicle series.
Woohoo! All right. And we've got Ronan Duvall. He's a brand spanking new author, and he's got a novel called Village Boss. And this is kind of a military government espionage thriller type of thing. with some bad characters doing bad things and some mind control subjects and things like that. And when the mind control subjects get their minds restored, watch out, all hell breaks loose. Then we've also got American Darkness. This is a book of poetry and some short stories by a new up-and-coming author, fantastic poet, Stephen Skibicki. And it's also loaded with AI-generated art, and it's some really cool stuff. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. All these are going to be mentioned in our newsletter. And if you're not subscribed to our newsletter, why the heck not? Here's how you can do that.
Stay on top of these podcasts and all things Fresh Ink Group with our weekly digital newsletter. New releases, videos, stories, excerpts, interviews, and more. Sign up now on the homepage of freshinkgroup.com and be the one who knows what's what.
What?
All right. Let's talk about print bestsellers, Fresh Ink Group's best-selling print books of the past week or so. We got a couple of interesting developments in this list. But let's go down and look at this full report here. Working our way up from number 25, we've got The Rise and Fall of a Construction Giant, The History, People, and Stories of CFW Construction by Dick Farrer Jr. That's the story about the company in Fayetteville, Tennessee, that was started by his father and a friend and grew into a massive construction company in multiple countries in 7 states. And then bad things started happening. People got convicted. The company plane crashed. People died, and a lot of stuff developed in there. And he tells the story, warts and all. And it's 7 years now, 6 years that this book has been out, and it's still making our bestseller list. I thought this would be a regional book with interest around Fayetteville, Tennessee, but it's doing very well. Above that, The Chair, Volume 3 by Robert McKenzie. Watch for 4. We got it coming. How to Paint an American by Andrew McGregor. Still Not Enough, Minority Millennials in the Workforce, and this is by Janelle A. Jordan, DBA. And that takes a good look at what's going on with the workforce, minorities, opportunities, and things like that. It's an excellent book, well-researched, and it's easy to read and very informative. Our next two above it, How to Teach Driving by Kenneth Lindquist. The next one up is Parents Edition, and then the one above that, selling one more copy than the Parents Edition, is the Instructors Edition. And interesting, the Instructors Edition, it's the hardcover that's selling the most too. So people who are buying that intending to keep it and refer to it and put it on the shelf. Above that, Larry Jorgensen's Shipwrecked and Rescued, the City of Bangor, the story about 240 1920s Chryslers being shipped to Canada and never got there. What happened? Find out in this book. The Dayang, book 1 of the Dayang trilogy. Hardcover edition, Beem. People don't buy novels in hardcover. Who says? The Dayang, book 1 of the Dayang trilogy is by M.C. Howard. She's also the one who created the Mermaids in Mermaid Cove, which we just published this past week. Daddy Yo-Yo and the Legendary Marble Tournament by Janice D. Toney, hardcover edition. And that's a illustrated chapter book for children about bullying. Above that, the hardcover edition of Shipwreck, about those old Chryslers. And then Operation Ivy Bells, a Mac McDowell mission by Robert G. Willis Croft. This is the first in his Cold War thriller submarine series about Mac McDowell, a ship commander. These are cool books. And oddly enough, the Cold War between the United States and Russia seems to have been heating up again this past year, so we might be seeing some true stories in the future that Robert can tap into for his Mac McDowell mission series. B.A. Johnson, Sassy Discovers the AME Church. This is the first book in her illustrated chapter book for children about the AME Church. The second one is Sassy Uncovers Peter Allen's Secret. I got a feeling this is, there it is, 3 slots above it. Paperback edition of Sassy Uncovers Peter Allen's Secret. So both of those books in the series are doing very well. Now, I just mentioned Willis Croft's Operation Ivy Bells. I'm looking at it again here. Hardcover edition, a novel, and people are buying hardcovers, and right now the hardcover is outselling the softcover on this one. And this is a long book. It's a fairly costly book. Next up, How to Start and Run Your Own Food Truck Business in Georgia. People are interested in food trucks, and A.K. Wingler's got one for Florida, one for Georgia, and one for Tennessee. And Georgia made our list this week. I wonder if any are up near the top. We'll have to see. Here's Sassy Uncovers Peter Allen's Secret, and then the Diang book, one of the Diang trilogy, the paperback edition, slightly outselling the hardcover. And here's a book that I always expect to see on the list, The High Road, Memories from a Long Trip. Who's that by? Beem?
That's by Mark Herndon, former drummer of the country music supergroup Alabama. He played drums for them for 28 years. He's in the Country Music Hall of Fame, and doggone it, he's just a nice guy.
Yeah, we like Mark, and his wife's country music star Leah Seawright. I said Seacrest. Seawright. I hope if she's listening, she'll forgive me. All right, so that's the paperback edition. If we go up 2 slots, hardcover edition of The High Road by Mark Herndon is outselling the paperback. In between those, Dr. Helen Burrell's American Agony, The Opioid War Against Patients in Pain. That's the paperback edition. And then above that, the hardcover edition of I Won't Be Your Scapegoat, David Carroll's Homemade Social Media Blunders. What's that about, Beem?
That's about social media blunders, misspellings, funny signs, and as we've talked about before, while we were going through this book during the editing process, we were, laughing hysterically. It's that funny. So grab a copy.
All right, now we're down to the top 5. This is kind of interesting this week because in slots 3 and 5, we have a new book, Celebrate 98, The Untold Stories Behind the Tennessee Football Vols 1998 National Championship. And this is by Off the Hook sports writer Dave Hooker. When I say off the hook, I'm not saying he's off the hook, but he is off the hook. But his website is offthehooksports.com. And Dave has put together a comprehensive look, color photos. This is an all-color book, color photos, the stories behind it. He knows many of these players. He tells us what they're doing today and the stories behind what was going on in the locker room when they transitioned from Peyton Manning as a quarterback the year before to Al Lewis, who became the one that led them to a championship. So that's slots 3 and 5, Celebrate 98 by Dave Hooker. Now, in between them, at number 4, is J. Ashlooney's Meet William Shakespeare, a superbly entertaining one-person play starring the Bard himself. Now, this is a play that J. Ashlooney wrote, obviously, about Shakespeare. These are short little books. You can read them like a novel, even though they're written out as plays, because they can also be performed. Now, what happened here is we published this book at least 5 years ago, I think. And it did well for a while, and then we see it every now and then. It'll pop on the radar, selling a few more. Well, J. Ashlooney went to a Renaissance festival this past week, and while he was there, he talked the book up. And it started selling, and then it sold some more, and then it sold some more, and right now it's our number 4 bestseller. So sometimes all it takes, people, is get out there and keep spreading the word. Don't forget you've got books for sale. Get out there and tell people about them. And if you can, look for your audience. In this case, a Renaissance festival, you couldn't have found a better audience for a Shakespeare play.
Yeah.
And that gets us down to our top 2. Number 2, the paperback edition of David Carroll's I Won't Be Your Scapegoat, which, as Beem mentioned, is just hilarious. You got to check that out. Now, what's on our number 1 slot this week? A.K. Winkler's How to Start and Run Your Own Food Truck Business in Florida.
Wow.
So, it seems to be a surge of interest in starting food truck businesses because at least 2 of her 3 books have been in our list for the last couple of months now, and today she's at number 1. Congratulations, Andrea Winkler.
Congratulations. All right. So if you've missed an episode, you have a favorite one you want to listen to again and again and again, or you're new to the show and you want to hear what we've done in the past, we've got an archive, and here's where you can find it.
Find your favorite show in the Voice of Indie archives on YouTube at Fresh Ink Group, StephenGees.com, BeamWeeks.com, FreshInkGroup.com, and on Spotify. And now, you can listen on iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and tune in. Just search The Voice of Indie, all one word.
All right. So, you want to go ahead and roll Celebrate 98, Beem, and then we'll introduce this week's guests.
All righty.
Dave Hooker here, longtime Tennessee sports writer, and I know that true Tennessee fans are celebrating the 25th anniversary of the legendary 1998 Tennessee Volunteers championship season. Tell you what, in Celebrate 98, I try to bring the full color photos and detail the transfer of power from Peyton Manning to Al Wilson, the preparation to win the first BCS National Championship, the locker room dynamics, and the challenges of a team rising above deep tragedy. Key plays include interception, a fumble maybe against Arkansas, and a bit of trickeration. Also, there's that Florida game. I analyze the leadership, the strategies, and the players' commitment to each other and share what we are still learning from this team even today. Discover what happened to those heroes of the gridiron and where they are now. Proudly published by the Fresh Ink Group, Celebrate 98 is available in all the digital forms, but you can also get your own softcover or jacketed hardcover keepsake edition from booksellers worldwide. Want an autographed edition? Go to offthehooksports.com. That's offthehooksports.com, and I'll personalize it for you. Celebrate 98 is a collector's item and a cherished gift that belongs to all fans of college football and the Tennessee Volunteers.
Yeah, I want to stress that, getting over there and ordering them directly from him, because it helps the author make even more money. And having a signed, autographed, original copy of a book on the shelf has always been cool for me. I've always been a little weird that way, but, I just think that's cool. And we should have mentioned earlier, too, you go to markherndon.com, you can order a copy of Mark Herndon's book, The High Road, and he'll not only autograph it for you, inscribe it, like if you want to buy one to give somebody for a birthday or something like that. So that's a cool way to do it. So look at Dave Hooker's book, go to offthehooksports.com and order your copy. Now let's meet today's guests. Today we're going to talk to both members of an independent rock group called Widetrack. Widetrack is the musical partnership of Ron Tippin and his son Zach. I think Zach's around 19 now. We'll have to ask him. The duo's alterna-prog sound strikes a balance between the moody, deep undertones of such progressive groups as Pink Floyd, Radiohead, Porcupine Tree, the Mars Volta, etc., with the heaviness of alternative and hard rock bands like Soundgarden, Queens of the Stone Age, Tool, STP, etc. I just recently saw Queens of the Stone Age. Man, that was great. Never heard of Porcupine Tree. I'm going to have to be enlightened here. Between 2007 and 2016, Ron self-released the band's first three albums, Widetrack, Widetrack 2, and Widetrack 3. There's a pattern there. Zach's recording debut as bassist. Beginning in January 2019, the father-son team wrote, recorded, and released one new song each month, marking Zach's debut as a songwriter and recording engineer, as well as the first time Ron had written Widetrack music with another person. The 12 songs comprise Widetrack's fourth album, The Unwakening, released April 23rd in 2020, but we're going to talk to them tonight even more about their new album. The band is in the process of booking live dates and finishing that new album we just talked about, and it's out now. So let's meet our guests. Welcome to the show, Ron and Zach.
Welcome.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing well.
All right, now that was Ron's voice, just so everybody will know.
Hey, everybody. This is Zach. How you guys doing?
All right. Good to have you on, Zach.
Good to have you in here, Zach.
Great to be back.
So, for those not familiar, we're going to ask you a couple of quick questions, try to establish who you are, and then talk a little bit about what this past couple of weeks. So, where are you guys from, and where are you now?
We're in Waterford, Michigan, is where our main studio is. Our Zach's studio is in Rochester Hills, Michigan. So we're between those areas quite a bit.
That's all north of Detroit, right? Way up in the suburbs, kind of closer to Pontiac.
Yeah, we're probably 45 minutes north of Detroit. This is pretty much where we grew up, and sticking close to home, friends and family and all that.
Now, you mentioned in the bio here about Zach joined basically on the third album, debuted playing bass and stuff. But let's go back before that. What was? I mean, how long has Zach been playing? And Zach, were you interested in playing with you from an early age? And tell us about some of that earlier stuff before you actually became Widetrack.
Yeah. For the longest time, I didn't think I would ever, follow in my dad's footsteps. I had no interest in music when I was a young kid. I was much more interested in video games. But there came a turning point around 8 years old where I saw my dad playing live in the cover band, and I saw the energy of being on stage and playing the guitar, and the magic infected me. From that moment on, I had the bug, and so I started on guitar and played for a little bit, but then, when my dad told me, hey, I don't have a bass player in my band, and if you can play guitar, I'm sure you could play my bass parts. I took off with the bass and made it my mission to explore every nuance of the instrument. And by Widetrack 3, I had been playing for maybe a year or two. And after that album, in practicing religiously, I was finally at the level where I said I'd like to, write some of these songs and be a full, part of the writing process, and have some ownership over this stuff. And here we are today.
Wow, Ron, he kept up, huh?
Oh gosh, yeah. I that little spot where he joined on Widetrack 3, he was 12 years old when he started playing with us.
Wow.
And we did at the time we were a 3-piece. I was recording drums and rhythm guitar in the studio, and then we had our good buddy Brian Burleson playing lead guitar parts. And actually the first thing that we ever ended up doing was our cover of Welcome to the Machine by Pink Floyd.
Fantastic cover.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Brian really adds a great lot to that. And Brian, it really coincided, like we had a really special moment in time when Zach came into the band. It was all over at Brian's house where we rehearsed, and we all got really tight. And then Brian went back off to he's got like a noir blues band that he does that's just so good. So we encouraged him to go pursue that, and that coincided right with Zach wanting to take over the writing. Like Zach, that's the thing I would stress is, like, within 6 months, Zach went from a fairly amateur player to just like incredible musician, like one of the best musicians I had ever played with. And now it's just insane. And I know I sound like that father or whatever, but it's outside of that. Like it's definitely the most satisfying musical collaboration I've ever had.
Yeah, it's not bragging if it's true.
Yeah, it's not bragging if it's true.
And I started playing in bands when I was 12, and they were local bands, stuff like that. And I didn't join a professional band and start making good money until I was 15. But when you start at 12, it's all about the music. By 15, you discover girls like musicians.
Yeah.
Now, Zach, I understand you put the school on hold, and you're actually teaching now. So what's that like, and what are you teaching? Are you teaching guitar? Are you teaching bass? Are you teaching? What's all about?
Oh, well, it's funny you mention it. I'm on my way home from work as we speak. Had to, make it work. My final lesson got out right at 8. So, I teach guitar, bass, and piano.
Wow.
And though I'm not much of a technical piano player, it's still nice to be able to communicate a lot of the theory concepts and chords and scales and all that stuff, especially in a way where I remember what it's like to be a beginner on piano, because it was me like 2 months ago, so I've been appreciating the new musical perspectives that working with musicians of all different levels has given me. I think it's really awesome.
So what kind of students do you have? Are they young, old, all ages?
Oh, I think all of my students are under 15, so mostly around 8 to 12. Yeah. I mean,
that's a fun group to work with music.
Yeah, I mean, so many unique kids. It's awesome.
You think you got some rising stars?
At that age, they're like sponges.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm doing my best to give them all the knowledge that I would have wanted at that age, because I do remember what it was like to be, 12 years old and just you could not get enough of the instrument. And it's really cool to see that in other musicians as well.
All right.
All right, so we are talking to Widetrack's Ron Tippin and his son Zach Tippin, and as Stephen mentioned earlier in the podcast, that we had attended a private concert when he was up here and we were in the Detroit area. This is the band that we watched, and we'll talk about that when we come back. We're going to do a commercial right now, but we will be right back.
I'm David Carroll, and I'm proud of my recent books, Chattanooga Radio and Television, Volunteer Bama Dog, and Hello Chattanooga, famous people who have visited the Tennessee Valley. Like many folks, I spend too much time on social media, but I put that time to good use. For years, I've been collecting social media misspellings, misinterpretations, and other mishaps, from tweets, text messages, even the signs you see at stores and on the highways. I've collected the funniest foul-ups in my latest book, I Won't Be Your Scapegoat, David Carroll's homemade social media blunders. I top them off with my own snarky comments, and they're illustrated by a talented artist, my friend Mike Salter. There are a lot of laugh-out-loud moments in the book, more than 400 of them. We all make mistakes, and sure, you can blame it on spell check, but maybe, just maybe, we didn't pay enough attention in English class. Either way, this book will bring a smile to your face or to the face of someone you love. We can all agree what the world needs now is laughter, and lots of it. I Won't Be Your Scapegoat, proudly published by Fresh Ink Group in softcover, jacketed hardcover, and all ebook formats.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Now, that book's available everywhere, so go out and grab a copy.
Even in Australia.
Even in Australia.
Yeah.
All right, so Ron and Zach, you guys put on a fantastic show for Stephen and I, a nice little private show there at your studio, and they even played the aforementioned Welcome to the Machine. Fantastic cover song, and played a bunch of the new stuff, and we're going to play a couple of those tracks off the new album tonight. Give us a little kind of a history of this studio that we were at. It's really cool, really comfortable, and we had a lot of fun there.
Yeah, the last place that I lived in was right across the street from here, and so I have the same landlord. And just got lucky. He had more space for us, and so we took full advantage of it. And it's kind of symbolic in a way, because it coincides with the evolving and the growth of our music. And a lot of this is about Widetrack has 3 albums before Zach came on board, but I kind of look at those as like the prequel. And so this has been about the journey of Zach and I growing together in our music. And so moving into the studio really had a lot of bearing on the new album and just what we were able to accomplish with it. And it kind of went along with Zach's growth as a recording engineer. And so it's been just a real blessing having this place.
Yeah, it's a great space. I mean, it's plenty of room to work, and you got room to bring in a little bit of an audience if you want. You got glassed-in side rooms, which would be perfect vocal booths or things like that. I mean, man, what a great space.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been working out really well for sound-wise. There's a few, adjustments we need to make here and there with the walls or whatever, but making this album was kind of like the test run of what will we need to do a better one next time around. And this is always the case with what we do, is every project that we embark upon is kind of a school, and so, you just learn so much from every album, and especially when you're like, okay, I'm going to do I'm going to put my best foot forward. I'm going to make this just as meticulously crafted and put as much work as I'm capable of into this, and you really feel like you did that, and then a little while later, you get away from it and you go back and listen to it, and you can hear where your physical and mental limitations were, and also what lessons you weren't aware of at the time. And so it's just a really cool way, and it's a metaphor of life. You are where you are, and you're learning as you go along. You're always a work in progress, even up until you're up until the end.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And that is, it comes back to the lesson of this is about, it's about the journey. It's about really making the most of the journey and enjoying the process. And, there are times where we'll be in the studio and, you're really trying to, especially tracking, you're trying to get through a performance without making any mistakes, and you keep messing it up, and it can be pretty frustrating, So
you
just
try
learning
too
how
hard.
to. Learning how to cope
try
with
too
that.
hard. I know the feeling.
Yep. And then pretty soon you get an attitude of like, let's just have more fun with this, and that you could feel and hear that in the music. And I think this time around, we were still kind of trying to really make something that was a little bit above us, a little bit above our abilities at the time, but. It really, I think it paid off because there was a nice balance of that and just having fun doing it.
Yeah. The new one is called Monolith, and fantastic album. I've got all 5 of your albums. And for those listeners who are into really good music, go over to my blog, beamweeks.wordpress.com, or just to my website, beamweeks.com, and I scroll down through the blog. I wrote a review of this new album and gave you my thoughts on it and suggested some tracks. So you can go on to Widetrack's YouTube channel and listen to some of those songs and get a feel for it. But we're going to play a couple of those tonight. Tell us a little bit about Monolith.
Yeah, well, this album started off around 2 years ago, on the tail end of 2021, maybe 2.5 years ago. We had started writing songs, and we knew they were going to be for a new album. But, each time we thought we had a deadline, it would get pushed back and back and back. So we made it our mission that, if this album's going to take forever, we're going to make it really count. We're going to hone in on every little detail and try to do the best work that we possibly can. So, this is an album that's got 8 songs on it, and each of them deal with a similar theme, all pertaining, to the title, monoliths being these kind of archaic, old institutions that are resistant to change. And there's various different interpretations of these themes. But musically, which is where my department is, this was, a progressive rock record where I tried to occupy as many different spaces as possible. There's riffs, there's softer moments, there's long epics, there's short and uplifting songs, there's dark moments, and so it was a real treat to explore all the different facets of music that were influencing me at the time on this album.
Do you have a favorite song?
Oh, that's like picking a favorite kid, but if I had to suggest somewhere to start for any listeners who haven't heard of us, then we have a music video for one of the songs off the album called Unlived. And this music video has shots from all of our different live performances of the song, even the Inception jam, sprinkled in with some candid moments from the last 2.5 years over the course of making this album. So it's a nice introduction to the uplifting and a positive side of the band. And kind of gives a history of my dad and I's musical partnership.
Well, speaking of Unlived, how about we play that track? I got that.
Let's go.
Up. All right. This is Unlived from Widetrack's latest new album, Monolith. Unlived from Monolith, the latest from Widetrack. Tell us a little more about this particular album. Well, actually, I think you guys have probably talked a little bit about that, but yeah, we do have some Twitter comments here that I need to get to because we're getting kind of backed up here. We've got Verwayne Greenhoe, he says, I follow Widetrack over on Facebook. Check him out. So thank you, Verwayne, for chiming in on that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, he's got a link there, so go to Twitter, people, and click on that and check him on Facebook.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then Michelangelo Marigi da Caravaggio says,
probably McKaylee.
Okay. I look forward to hearing from your guests this evening. Sounds very interesting. And they also say, thank you for the clarification on worldwide book distributions through Amazon and Barnes & Noble. I had no idea how it worked until now. Love your show. Thank you.
Yeah, and, great name. Caravaggio, my favorite dead.
And then Ryan Spencer says, if y'all want to monetize more than here, what is this? This is looking like it's
an
spam
advertisement. Looks like
it's spam. All right, not cool, man, not cool.
Yeah.
But and then Verwayne also sharing his Finding Myself Again. It's the book and the audio book, I believe, as well. Just go over to Twitter, hashtag Fresh Ink Group. And scroll down through the latest, and you will find Verwayne there, his tweet, and it's got a link to it. So click on it, and go over there and check that out. But this song that we just played, guys. Now Zach touched on some of it here a little bit, but how did the song itself come about?
Well, this one started with a drum idea. My dad had just laid down this drum track with no other music to it, with kind of, vague structure, like, the parts change according to verses and choruses, but, very loose and, very off the cuff. And I was sitting with this drum track, along with a few others, and just messing around with the guitar ideas, and it started with this ascending guitar melody that plays throughout the choruses, and the rest of it came from there. So we wrote this song around the drums, and it's worked out really well for the ones that we've done it with. So this one, along with a few others.
Yes, that's interesting that you built this song around the drums, because usually it's around a melody or the lyrics and a rhythm, guitar piece or something like that, or piano chords. Or usually the drummers don't get the love,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I really thought about it one day where it's like, okay, the foundation of the song, like you could sit down to write if you're with the guitar, but if you're in a reflective mood or whatever, you might kind of fall on certain patterns, or if you're playing with an acoustic. But if you have a drum beat, it's kind of like writing to a loop, But for us, there's a purity about that's kind of akin to the jazz philosophy of you don't know what's going to happen when you sit down to play, and you're trying to like generate a spiritual kind of thing, for want of a better word, so I'll sit down and I'll play my drums, and it's a good way to rehearse because you start coming onto ideas, and I just got record going the whole time, and then afterwards I'll go through it and I'll edit it a little bit and then send it over to Zach if I find something that I think, okay, this is a really cool feel, I remember reading an interview with Chris Cornell where he wanted to find a good, like he envisioned like for the opening track of of Super Unknown. He said I envisioned what would be a great song to play live that we don't have yet, we don't have a feel for that. And that really reminded me of what Eddie Van Halen used to say about, he said, it's really important for us to write songs that there's no two drum beats that are the same. So the feel to every song is different. And I really like the idea of that, because so many bands kind of lean on a certain drum beat. The drums are kind of an afterthought a lot of the time. So if from top to bottom, we're trying to make each song its own expression, and as different and unique in its own right as possible.
Yeah, it's cool to have those unique beats. And then you got, somebody like Phil Rudd and some of those other guys that played in AC/DC, where they're just steady, and they
right.
do what needs to be done. But there's, like you said with the Van Halen stuff, man, Alex Van Halen, some of that stuff that he came up with is like, wow.
Oh, it's and that's the thing. It's like it's really understanding like what kind of band you're in, and I think Phil Rudd is one of the greatest drummers ever for what he's doing. You couldn't even have John Bonham in that band. I mean, he's literally like just the steadiest, but he does have a certain kind of style that it's not just this simple beat thing that he's doing. There's certain stylistic things to it in the nuance of it, but for the music that we're doing, it's like, because we don't have any specific way that we write. We try to write a lot of different ways, and we try to experiment with, okay, well, how about we write a song where, we try this, and it's not really even so intentional as just that's something that's permitted. It's like we're not having like a dogmatic way of doing things. It's pretty open to trying different approaches, because sometimes that's where you stumble upon something that's going to help you evolve if you just get outside the box. Sometimes you don't even know you're in the box. You can think, well, I'm so open-minded already, and I write this kind of open-minded music, but that can be a box in and of itself. Yeah. So.
All right. We are talking to Ron and Zach Tippin from the band Widetrack, and we are going to be right back. We're going to run a couple commercials, and we will get into playing the next song from Monolith.
Lucifer loses his day job, so he starts his own gig. A little girl's tantrum destroys her toys, but will they lash out in revenge? Can a miserable housewife find a new life for herself in a tear-stained old painting? Eerie charms of the short story, fantasy, mystery, and horror includes a snake deciding the fate of the world, a slot machine choosing life's winners and losers, a malevolent fairy dancing men to their deaths, a couple desperate to escape a train station, the dog show judge facing death, and more great tales. Proudly published by Fresh Ink Group, Eerie Charms is available worldwide in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats. Patricia A. Guthrie offers a cauldron of eerie delights that will please, delight, and yet terrify you.
Now, introducing Book 1 in the new series by master sci-fi storyteller Robert G. Williscroft, Icicle, a tensor matrix, the first Oort Chronicle. Dying of prostate cancer, wealthy entrepreneur Braxton Thorpe is frozen in hopes of someday being revived and cured. That's when he discovers a threat to the entire solar system. But he has a problem. He's dead. He awakens to find himself uploaded into an electronic matrix. Exploring beyond the matrix and the larger global net, he discovers the Oort, a distributed electronic entity older than humanity, with an unnerving secret. Aliens wiped out nearly all life on Earth once, and they are coming back to do it again. The mathematical entity that is Thorpe has to find a way to convince humans of this threat, and in time to do something about it. But how? And what? Will Thorpe's carefully assembled team have any shot at saving the world? Will the Russians and Chinese help or betray? And who uploaded the cat? Icicle, a tensor matrix, the first Oort Chronicle, is available worldwide in hardcover, softcover, all ebook formats, and now as an audiobook narrated by Trenton Bennett.
including music and sound effects. Icicle, a tensor matrix, is proudly published by Fresh Ink Group.
All right. Yeah, all of those are available. That Eerie Charms from Patricia Guthrie, that's a fantastic book. I've read that, and that's just, I mean, man, she's got one heck of a mind for these short stories and whatnot.
Yeah, and Willis Croft is a master science fiction writer, too. We are proud to have both of them as part of Fresh Ink Group, definitely. And that Icicle is just the first book in the Orc Chronicles series, and the third one is the one that we mentioned at the beginning of the show. We're trying to have that out in the next month or so.
Yeah. All right. So we are going to
hear some. We're going to hear some more music here.
We are going to. We are going to play a song called Symptoms, and then how about after we play this, you guys tell us a little something about this song, okay? All right. So this is Symptoms from Widetrack.
Justify another
Now, my favorite Widetrack song for a while has been Tribal, but that one is competing with it, trying to get into that top slot. We'll see what it winds up doing. But definitely, congratulations, guys. That's a great song.
Yes, it is.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
Yeah.
Guys.
And while we were listening to it, I went ahead and clicked on Verwayne Greenhoe's link over here on Twitter, and we're over looking at your Facebook page. And I noticed something that Beem and I also noticed the night we got to visit and hang out with you guys. You guys wear cool T-shirts.
Yeah.
Guilty.
I mean,
represent.
Yeah, the cat of Queens of the Stone Age that night, and I'm looking at Pink Floyd over here on Facebook. There's some cool shirts. So if nothing else, check out their Facebook page and see what kind of shirts they wear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that go ahead.
Oh, no, nothing. Just saying to take a few tips from the tips.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that song that we just played, Symptoms, that guitar riff that opens that, it's just such a hooky, cool riff. I remember, hearing that a couple of times, and I'm hitting replay. It's like, this is cool. And what it reminds me of is some 70s era Alex Lifeson style stuff. I mean, it's just that some of that cool stuff from that mid 70s 2112 era stuff. Very cool.
I especially like that bridge with the guitar sounds too, with the one where I said "party on" in the middle of it. That's just a cool part right there too. So yeah, great song, guys.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that we were talking about that section when it was playing, and remember there was I've got a video somewhere on our Facebook page of when we were mixing it, and Zach soloed just the guitar parts in that, and I was like, gosh, that should be like, we should have like an alternate mix of just that, because it's so melodic and ethereal, and it's kind of tucked underneath everything else in the album version, but there was a lot of nice orchestration that he did on this stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those riffs that stands out. It really does.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Oh, thank you.
Now, over on Facebook and YouTube, we can find videos of you guys. Tell us a little bit about your videos, your video history. You got some official music videos for songs, or just some behind-the-scenes stuff? What's going on with the videos?
Yeah, we have a lot of updates as to what we're currently doing, upcoming shows and events. Before the album was released, we'd have kind of updates on when the album was going to be released. We have a couple of different series way in the playlists section of our YouTube channel, and way in the kind of back of our Facebook page. From about 5 years ago, we've got a page or a series talking about each of the bands that have influenced us. Kind of like doing like a talk show, about 10-20 minutes per episode, talking about a band. And I was in middle school at the time, so it's a little embarrassing. But looking back on it. But yeah, we've done all sorts of stuff. Sometimes videos, short clips of us playing. We try to keep it fresh and interesting, and include a lot of different facets of the band.
Okay, now how do you guys distribute your music, and how can people buy it? That's the important part right there. How can people buy your music?
Well, we if it's it's available everywhere. It's on Bandcamp, it's on Amazon, et cetera, but we always prefer if it's all the same to people, that they get it from our website, which is widetrackband.com. And we've got two stores. One's for a digital store, and then the other is a physical store. So whichever you prefer, and if you purchase the physical products, you get all the digital products. So personally, we think the physical store is more bang for the buck. But all at widetrackband.com.
All right.
So how can people contact you or get in touch with you? You know, you got any kind of method like that, a contact form someplace, anything?
Yeah, on our website, there's, you know, pretty much every page has a contact us, or there's a contact us tab at the top in the menu. But we're at widetrack@widetrackmusic.com, or just following us. It's pretty much everywhere is at Widetrack Band. I think at YouTube we're just at Widetrack, but that's pretty much the only place that we were able to get just the single name. At Widetrack Band.
So, like, if they follow you on Facebook, you'd see it if they sent you a messenger note or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
yep.
Great.
So, do you have any upcoming shows that you want to promote right here?
Yeah, we're going to be doing an in-studio thing. It's for the third time on the 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This program with our friend Scott Boatwright. It's called 11 Mile Sessions, and it's just an internet live performance interview. We're doing acoustic stuff, and we're going to be rehearsing for it like right after this, where we're taking different original songs and a few cover songs and just reinterpreting them for acoustic versions. And they've got a really nice setup there. It's pretty much television quality.
Yeah, it's awesome, and all live streamed on Facebook and their website and everywhere else. So it's
people can stream it on
Roku TV.
Yeah, Roku TV.
It's a really cool show.
That's October 26th, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we're in the process of trying to set some stuff up for the beginning of 2024, and possibly even doing some of our own shows here at the studio with featuring. We've got a few friends whose bands are really good that we'd like to help promote and cross-promote. And we always love to have an excuse to get with our friends and play music and collaborate or whatever, do shows together. So we're hoping to do some more of that in 2024.
All right. Beats joining a gang.
Yeah,
right.
All right. Well, our guests have been Ron and Zach Tippin of the band Widetrack, and they're out there. Just Google them. You can find them, find their music everywhere. Check them out on YouTube. If you're not quite sure what to think yet, check out some of their videos on YouTube before you actually go commit and buy some of their music. But that's Widetrack, Ron and Zach Tippin, and we're proud to have them on the show.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Beem, Steven, thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Love your show. I would just love it.
All right.
All right.
So, who we got next week, Steven?
Next week, we're going to have two guests, Dan Price and Casey T. Allen. They write and publish comic books. So we're going to get back into the comic world again next week. Who we got after that, Beem?
The following week, we've got Zeta Elfaro, and she's a writer, but like the Tippins, she's also a musician. She records music, so we may talk a little music with her, talk a little writing. She's got some novels out. Don't know a whole lot about her, but we're going to learn about her as you, the listeners, learn. And then after that, we got someone we know pretty well.
Off the Hook Sports, Dave Hooker. He's going to be on talking about college football, sports in general, and his book, Celebrate 98, about the Tennessee Vols. Dave Hooker.
Yeah, and that leads us up to the night before Thanksgiving. We are going to be off that night, so we are going to be replaying an encore performance of Patricia A. Guthrie. When she was on the show the last time, she's been on 2 or 3 times, and it was her last one, and I believe she was in here promoting Eerie Charms at that time.
Yep.
So tune in for that, and we've got a bunch of other guests that we are currently in the process of booking. So
we do have the 29th covered with Judy White Arts.
That's right.
Yeah, she's got the new inspirational book coming out. She is locked in now for November 29th. So look for Judy.
Yeah, all right. Well, once again, Ron and Zach, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We will be in touch again, of course.
Yeah, and we'll be definitely checking out your live show on the evening of October 26th. And everybody, check that out. If you can't find it anywhere else, check it out on YouTube or go to their Facebook page, and you can see it live streamed right there.
Yeah. All right.
We'll see everybody next week.
Next week, same time, same place.
All right. Bye, Tippins.
Thank you, guys.
In 1945, 10-year-old Ronald Dennison, the son of a backwoods Arkansas preacher, began having profound dreams about religion and a strange red-haired woman. The dreams follow him for decades, with the woman sometimes seducing him, other times calling him to become a televangelist, but eventually berating him for his sins of lust. She holds a secret so dark that he dares never admit it, even to himself. The more famous and wealthier he becomes, the more he struggles with his adultery, his fetish, and his shame, until his torment can no longer be contained. Staggering revelations challenge everything he ever believed. Will truth bring him the peace he always craved? Or will the woman's demands prove more than he can bear? Read the novel The Calling Dream by Carlyle Toms, proudly published by Fresh Ink Group in hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats. The Calling Dream by Carlyle Toms.
You've been a part of Voice of Indy, a production of Fresh Ink Group. Spread the word, support our guests, then find us at freshinkgroup.com and be sure to hashtag Fresh Ink Group.